Greetings, 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 everyone. I'm going to respond to this meeting as being live streams. I hate that. It just always pops up and it just kind of gets in my way. Greetings. Let me give you a proper one. How are you? Happy Friday. It is 4/29, April 29th. I can't believe we are almost into May. That's amazing. And if you'll notice by the title, it says Max Energy. Now, we're going to take a deep dive into Max Energy, but I'll give you a little preview. Usually before these epic lives on Fridays, we'll hop on, whoever's going to be on the show will hop on for about a half an hour and start talking. And as everybody knows, by looking at the markets, Eeyore is in the house. It just seems like Eeyore is every time I turn around, somebody's upset about this, somebody's upset about that. The markets, whoa, price this, whoa, price that. Well, Max gets on and it was like, you ever see that Bose commercial where the dude's sitting in his recliner and he's listening to the music and his hair goes back and it's like he's in a wind tunnel? That's what it was like when Max got on. It was like, whoa. And Max, you had so much energy. So I'm not going to give it away. I want to know, why aren't you in the doldrums? Why do you have this much energy today, Max? Caffeine?
Yeah. There's just so much going on. I mean, the reason I haven't been available these past few weeks on the shows is just because finally so many things that have been in gestation for years are coming together, and there's just so much to do. There's never been a greater disconnect between the explicit market signal that people are trained to think about quite a bit, which is the price. Of course, in Bitcoin Core, there's nothing to do but wait around for someone else to do something and to talk about the price. So that's a natural thing. And the reality of what is going on, which is I did an inventory of the different tracks of technical development that are going on. And we've got 10 separate initiatives of things like decentralized exchange and wallets and pools and mobile mining and wallets, all of the things that we need to support mass adoption for billions of people. We've got the financial infrastructure that the world needs in these chaotic times, things with money becoming politicized in Russia, and it being very dangerous to use older forms of technology like Bitcoin Core, where if you use it and support the wrong side in some kind of cancel culture situation like Canadian truckers, that you can lose your job and your bank accounts. We don't just have the right financial infrastructure, but we have the right type of social infrastructure in terms of the DAO structure. And so really, yeah, everything is coming together. It's a beautiful sight to behold. We've been working on this for about 4 years now, and so many of the things that were just twinkle in the eye dreams or not even possible based on the tech at the time, but looking at the trends and where things were going, we said, all right, if we plant our flags now and build for what is coming, like Wayne Gretzky, skate to where the puck is, I'm feeling a sense of validation and vindication that our choices were really, really right. Rear view mirror thinking, let's get listed on a big exchange and then have marketers pump the price. This short-term mentality looks better in the near term, but long term, I've personally seen how that's played out over the rise and fall of promising concepts that ultimately don't fulfill their potential. And I'm proud to say that we really have the right kind of model for the long term. Things have never been stronger.
We can never be accused with Bitmart of a pump and dump because it certainly didn't pump. And I don't mean that in a negative way, but when we were saying you can't pump a proof of work coin, you really can't. Now, we are on Bitmart, and which is a centralized exchange. Yoga, welcome to the show. You are in the background, as is Mike Momola. Mike, welcome to you as well.
Hello.
Yes, Yoga, can you you were talking before that, hey guys, we have everything we need right now to scale. Can you unpack that?
Absolutely. people always look for excuses not to do things, right? Because once you run out of excuses, it comes down to action. You have to do things, right? It falls on you to act, and people have been saying, well, we need a KYC exchange because institutional investment and blah, 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 and KYC is good. And it's the other half of the equation, right? We have the DEX that's non-KYC. And now, and people were clamoring and saying that, well, it's absolutely vital for our survival to have a KYC exchange, okay? Because that's how the big kids do it. And that's great. So now we have it.
Yeah.
We had it. And I mean, we already had it for a number of weeks and we have it. And the thing is, a privacy coin, our core user base are not necessarily people who are all about KYC, just like Monero people are not really all about KYC. So what are we talking about? And yet Monero didn't get their big pump until they got on Korean exchanges, which were all KYC, and until they got on Kraken, which was always been KYC since its inception. So, but it didn't happen overnight. It didn't just happen. There had to be awareness created. It wasn't like all of the anti-KYC Monero community people just suddenly jumped off and got Kraken accounts. Like, hell no. They're like, no, screw that. It's like Monero is, it's like this not KYC thing, and so with Epic now we have both.
Right.
We have the KYC, we have the non-KYC. And do we need more? More what? We have it. We have it, like the both halves. Okay, so if you're all about KYC and you're an institutional person and you're an organization or whatever, well, now you can buy Epic. Okay, so why didn't the price go through the roof? Because this is a fledgling thing. This is a little bird that's just coming out of its nest. Okay, it doesn't go flying everywhere. It needs, just like everything else, it needs time and it needs everybody's participation to create awareness that we now have this. Because people who knew the non-KYC people, they already knew, and they don't care about Bitmart opening. Okay, because for them, business has been. But the people who were saying like, well, this is something that we need, and that you guys, until you have it, you're not going to be big. Well, folks, it's on you now. Okay, you wanted it. People came together, people put it together, people worked their butts off on integration, on funding it, Uncle and other people stepped up. And this is out of pocket. This is not some great mysterious somebody. These are people in the community who put their wallet where their mouth is and funded this thing. This is what happens in volunteer communities. This is something that somebody steps up for the greater good. And because people said that there's a need for this, well, now you have it. But now the onus, there are no excuses. The ownership falls on the people who've been asking for it. Here you go. You got it. It's like buying a bicycle for a kid. Hey, yay, Dad, I'm going to ride this thing all over the place. Well, here's your bike. Get on it. Okay. Ride it. Okay. Because I'm going to be pretty pissed that if it's, after I spend the money on it, it's going to sit there and collect cobwebs in the garage. Your ass is going on that bike. Okay. So folks, get on the bike, create the awareness. And if you're not the KYC person that you were talking about, maybe you have friends who are, and maybe that's who you were talking about. Well, your time to act is now.
Yeah,
okay? The tools are in place. The bike has been bought, and paid for. So start pedaling. Same thing with the wallet. Okay, we've been talking about wallet and this and that. Okay, look, if you're like me and over the years you used Kraken or you used Binance or you use some of the other, those things are not intuitive. So people say like, well, Vitex is not really intuitive. That to me, all I hear is like, oh, I never used a crypto wallet or a crypto exchange, because they all have. It's not like they're not intuitive. They all have their own squirrely set of rules that are actually consistent between the exchanges. Okay. And you just have to do a little bit of work. And it's, I'm thinking about it in terms of something that people never have done before. There's no analog for it in their life. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're experiencing it for the first time. Is there motivation? Why are you doing this? Why do you want to learn something? Well, because it'll make your life better. It'll give you a profit. It'll give you something, right? Some of the least intuitive things out there are like NFT markets, and Mike can attest to this. Okay,
100%.
For people who are like, okay, I want to buy that monkey that's doing stuff to itself, okay, and maybe it'll be worth $1 million. But how do I do it? Oh shit, there's this whitelist thing, and I need Ethereum, and I need to configure MetaMask, or it's like, by
Right.
comparison, Vite is a child's toy, but people jump through all these hoops. People who are completely crypto illiterate, getting into NFTs, getting into Bitcoin, getting into Epic, getting into crypto. Look, there is some amount of work that is required, but the upside is once you've done it, the tool is there. So just pick it up and start using it. So Vite works on Android. It works on iOS. Okay, so there's no excuse. You want non-KYC? You got it. Bitmart, you got the same thing. It works on KYC and it works cross-platform, and you can do transactions online, through your web browser, et cetera, et cetera. Folks, we're out of excuses.
Yeah,
you wanted it, you got it any which way you want. You wanted KYC, non-KYC. You want it on Apple, we got it. You want it on Android, we got it. You want it on freaking Linux, we got it. You want it on Windows, on whatever, okay? There are no excuses. Going further, we're going to be improving the user experience, but the tech today, as it stands today, the tech is damn good. I mean, think about this. Bitcoin hasn't delivered any new tech since its beginning.
Right.
It's not the amount of tech. It's not the amount of, is the tech, how good is the tech out of the box? How good is it? What can you do with it? Unpacking Epic, what Max has done, what you have done, what everybody in the community has done, educating people. We have spent so much time unpacking our tech and explaining it and using analogs and metaphors and dumbing it down or making it really brilliant for the higher math people or whatever. We covered it from every freaking angle. So again, if you starting today, you have such a wealth of information. You're coming into a mature infrastructure at this point. We have help channels. We have mining help channels. We have newbie help channels. We have, if you just want to buy Epic and don't want to learn about anything, but you just want to buy it. Okay, and that's it. You don't care about mining or nodes or servers or Mimblewimble or whatever. You just want to buy. We have that. We have instruction videos. We have all. So again, my point is today, if we look around, we got all the tools. And that's all that comes from here is just work creating awareness. And this is what Bitcoin has done for the last 10 years, because all the work was in the beginning, just creating this thing. Well, this thing has been created. It's been alive. It's been working. 3.0, people needed that to be able to get more functionality.
Right.
It's been delivered. It works. Okay. So that's it. We're out of excuses. We have the stuff.
Well, and what's interesting is you guys know that I was triggered in the Epic Cash, t.me/Epic Cash community this morning because there's a gentleman, I won't even mention his name, but he's just going around, patting himself on the back, trying to play Nostradamus that, he called it that price of Epic could go down once we get on Bitmart. And I was just reading it, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. And finally, I'm like, okay, let me pat you on the head. Okay, you called it, right? Now we're 3-4 weeks in to Bitmart. And it seems to me, since I've been covering this, which has been for a year, that since that time, we went from 18 cents up to 6.85 without Bitmart. And so there was something that was going on right in the Epic market. And these things are a bumpy ride up. And now we have E3 and now we have Bitmart. The markets, if you haven't noticed, are all, down. I mean, across the globe, they're all down. Lots of
and not just crypto, like markets also. Yeah,
absolutely. So, I responded back. I'm like, let me ask you, what are you doing to advance Epic Cash in your way? I have a YouTube channel. I do my best to do educational content. I see others doing all kinds of things, of all kinds of great work. What are you doing other than taking a victory lap? Because Epic didn't pump after being listed on Bitmart. Would be happy to have you come on my show to discuss your advanced ideas on how to make Epic prosper. So that, sir, is an open invitation. Come on my show. Let's talk about you being anything but a post-mortem ankle biter. And by the way, it's only been 3 to 4 weeks since we've been listed on Bitmart with the markets in the shitter, and you're judging it on that? No, wait.
Well, and also I've never heard of whoever that person was. Perhaps it's perhaps it's a disaffected troll coming back under another name. But let's assume that it's honest. Whoever you are out there, what have you done? If you've done anything, it would be under a different name because I would have seen it, and I haven't seen you do anything. So that type of behavior, if you're listening out there, I know, like Uncle, you're shadow
guys,
man.
guys, I'm sorry. The sad part is, and I hate to interrupt you, Max. I'm sorry. Okay, you got this energy going, saying, you know, it's staggering. But I hate to interrupt you guys on this. Okay, the problem is that person will not be in this live stream. Okay, they are not a participant.
Right.
They come in and they take a dump and then they run out of the room. Okay. Yeah. And this is the thing. And the community, the people that are here, they're here time and time again, and more people are coming and more people are joining this. Okay. But it's like, well, there's no information about this. No, there is. We have such a staggeringly huge amount of information. You guys want videos. You guys want white paper. It's translated to 54 languages. You want, you know, in-depth analysis of this and that. You want to know what our roadmap is, join the freaking show. You want to know where we are today. Every week we update it. We tell people where we are. We tell people what's going on. We tell people what our concerns are. We'll listen to the community, what their concerns are, because we are the community. There's no magical somebody. We're all somebodies. Okay. Yeah, and the problem is, Uncle, no matter how much you work your ass off, and Max, no matter how awesome your information is, and Todd Lewis, no matter how good our tech is, the people that do not take the time to listen to you, Uncle, to read you, Max, or to understand what Todd Lewis has created with the tech, those people will come in and pinch their uninformed 2 cents periodically here and there. What we're doing here, this continues to enrich people who are already on board. That's right. Trying to bring those people, and this is something that, you know, we're losing our voice, you know, like we're getting hoarse here, okay, because we keep telling people, like, come and listen to this. Sometimes it helps, like the community, all of you who are listening to this, all of you who will listen to this, okay, you do your share. And also when somebody like this comes on, educate them and let them know, look, there are resources. No, this is not a surprise. The Bitmart thing, we knew is going to be an incremental opportunity. It's not going to be a life-changing thing from the get-go. It has a chance to be something really meaningful, but it takes work to make it into something meaningful. Things don't just happen. And just because somebody quote unquote predicted that something would happen, well, you know what? A wrong clock tells time accurately twice a day.
Well, okay. I want to know if Non-Visto predicted that this would happen. You know what this is? Well, let me introduce you to the 2 columns that we filled in, that Todd Lewis and I filled in, because we do a tech talk with Todd Lewis now every Wednesday morning. If you haven't seen that show, please go back and watch it. He is a blast. We have a lot of fun together. It's over morning coffee at 8 a.m. I'm not going to tell you what this is. I want you to go watch the show, and then I think you're going to become addicted to it. But nobody, I'm pretty sure, Max, it didn't come from you. Yoga, it didn't come from you. I'm pretty sure, Mike Momola, it didn't come from you. Nobody told me, hey, would you hook up with Todd Lewis? And would you go and create a thought experiment of how we might be able to educate people on the story of Epic and all of the decisions that went behind creating the qualities, and how it was really from the beginning, the quest for superior money? And then did any of you say, why don't you guys work with Spencer to where, look at this, guys, if I can get my, to he and his team to create this interactive document that will allow us to be able to take 10 weeks to be able to unpack this entire document. And once that's done, guess what? You're going to know what open to everyone means and how it relates to Epic versus Bitcoin versus gold versus Federal Reserve notes versus digital credits. And you're going to be way smarter. And I'm not sharing that for you as a pat on the back. I'm sharing it for you, saying that, you know what? I was just thinking about this and thinking about how how could I be better educated? And I reached out to Todd Lewis and I asked him, I said, we talk a lot about the roadmaps and where we're going, but I'd sure like to know what's inside your head, Todd. What was important to you? We talk a lot about what would have been important to Satoshi Nakamoto. Well, I really want to know what's important to Todd Lewis and Max Freeman, who got together to engineer Epic Cash. So that's what's happening on Wednesdays. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's really going to be fun. And then what happens is you just lead with your chin, not your hand out. You start ugly, you do it. And now what's manifested is Max had a few things to say about it. He wants to talk to us about the fungibility of gold. So guess what? We're going to create a third show, and it's going to be kind of fun, where we're going to do our Epic Cash lives, and then on Wednesday morning, Tech Talk with Todd, and then we're going to fit in between. We're going to have Max come on, or Yoga, or Mike, or anybody else who wants to come on and challenge us on any of those boxes that are checked or X'd to be able to further unpack it. And we're doing this just because we want to not only educate ourselves, but we want to educate you. And guess what? I want to have a Tech Talk with Todd Lewis series that is just a series dedicated in my channel, that when you want to onboard somebody, you'll be able to just give them one link and say, look, it might be a binge. Maybe you'll just get through the first episode, but you know what? If it hooks you, maybe you'll go through all 10 weeks of that series and you'll be a lot smarter for it. And you'll know why Epic Cash is superior money. Okay, I'm done, Max.
actually, one thing, Uncle, just one thing about these shows, and this is a funny thing that sometimes we get put into a position that we don't want to be in, and talk about, somebody brings up the price, okay, and then you or myself or Max or somebody has to talk about the price, has to address the price, okay? We don't like talking about the price because a couple of things happen. Price by itself is a delayed indicator. That's all it is. And keep in mind, it's a delayed indicator, okay? But the more important thing is, anytime you start talking about price, half of the people start thinking that you're shilling. Okay, and so even though we didn't do this because we wanted to do this, we're answering questions, it gets twisted like, oh, you guys are shilling. It's like, no, we're answering questions. So by changing this narrative into just a purely educational stream, we're not talking about the price. Right. Because once people understand the technology, once people start using the technology, once people get on board with everything that is not price related, the price will take care of itself. It's not a topic. Shilling is not a pastime for us, okay? We're too freaking busy trying to make things better, trying to make things accessible to everyone, trying to make things understood by everyone, okay? And that's it. And shows like this, and what Uncle is talking about, his show with, the Todd Squared, sorry, that's my thing for it. Okay, but the two Todds, it's freaking awesome. It's powerful. It's empowering. It's educational. It's entertaining. Okay.
Thank you.
And it's not shilling. It is the freaking essence of the project, is the information, the understanding of that information. And then the most important part, the doing something practical and tangible with that information. Because ideas, no matter how great they are crap and meaningless without execution. But we are executing. We have the user base. We have the tech. And it is growing and happening and keeps getting better. So anyway, that's my little.
Let me just hold on a second, Yoga. Let me just speak to that. So let's talk in terms of facts. We picked up 300 cities from 1700 to 2000 in a month. I mean, let's talk about that for a second. Monero, after 7-8 years of being around, $5 billion market cap, has 2,600 nodes. I don't know how many we have at the moment, but I think you observed 8,000 or something like that over 6 months, maybe more now since that's
more.
Data.
No, it's close. It's just a Scotia over 10K, but yeah, I mean, it's.
Yeah, I mean, like Ethereum has 6,000 nodes, Litecoin has 1,200 nodes. We have more actual substance than projects that have billions of dollars of hot air.
Hey,
And
question, because there are people that are going to be new to crypto. What's a node?
So a node is a copy of the blockchain, okay, that other people can synchronize against. So this is one of those things that gives us decentralization. So the more nodes we have, the more copies of the blockchain exist, the harder our blockchain is to destroy, and so on and so on. This is kind of like from Bitcoin, that Bitcoin exists as long as there's a couple of computers come online, it exists. It's the same thing with Epic. The blockchain.
Does anyone have more nodes than us then? I mean, if
No,
BTC has 22,000. And
Yeah.
we're about halfway there, and
Yeah,
we'll be by the end of the year.
There are projects that have a lot of nodes because a lot of projects. So here's another important thing to notice. We don't force people to run a node to be able to mine Epic.
Right.
Okay. So our physical footprint is actually bigger because a lot of people are mining straight to a mining pool. So all of the aggregated miners count as a single node essentially, because what the network validates is through that mining pool, like like Pool Boy's mining pool, and that counts just as one node. But if somebody wants to run a local wallet or support our network to help it become more decentralized, they're on a node. It doesn't take a lot of space. It takes a couple of gigs because our blockchain is ultra light. It's not like with Bitcoin you have to buy a new hard drive to be able to to run a full node. So with Epic, it's a couple of gigs, literally like 2.26 gigs for the node, and maybe another half a gig overhead. And it's very
there's
portable.
another. Sorry to interrupt, but there's another key differentiator that people often miss, which is that this is all organic. A lot of there's VC ghost chains, Potemkin Village, Kabuki Theater, lots of sizzle, not a lot of stake there type of stuff, where projects will run their own nodes and make it look like there's a lot of activity, or the infrastructure that's there depends on a centralized funding source. That what happens when that's not there anymore? Like this whole Wall Street, yay, we're going to make Ethereum the backbone of finance and whatever. Okay, but like the numbers don't work when the money printer stops. Like that's a problem. It's not a problem today, but long term that's a problem. And we have a totally sustainable, self-sustaining, organic thing. There will be billions of Epic nodes, and that's going to happen organically because we've created the conditions for that to happen. It doesn't need to be driven from the top down. People miss that.
So really what you're saying is there's going to be a point in time where people are going to notice. Get it?
Yeah.
Noticed?
Yeah.
Sorry, bad joke.
Was it noticed?
Noticed.
No.
N-O-T-E-S-T. Hey, Mike Momola, you still on? I believe.
I'm here.
Yes, there you are. Welcome. Thank you. Thank you for being here, Mike.
Of course. My pleasure.
You are an individual who has very high level conversations with very high level people, increasingly so in the cryptoverse, if you will. And I've always found, in hearing you introduce Epic, I would love for you to share how you introduce it on the fly to new people, because I'm thinking your strategy isn't to say, hey, I want to talk to you about Epic price. It's gonna moon, man. That's not your approach, right?
Not exactly, no.
No,
go
ahead.
It really does depend on who I'm speaking to, obviously. So it varies slightly.
Sure.
But really focus on the functionality, the usefulness, the utility, and the technology of it, and to explain in a very organic and non-aggressive way why I believe, and who cares what I believe, because from a tech standpoint, I'm not nearly what Max and Todd and everyone else are, but why I believe from an investor and from a part. And when I say investor, I don't just mean my money, I mean my time, my network, my image, my brand, etc. Why I'm so excited about it. And so, when I start explaining to them the privacy feature, just being a nice feature, but really talking about what the opportunity is to change the global monetary system, financing, the way people earn and generate wealth, the way that they're able to take 0% interest loans against themselves, against their own holdings soon enough, and doing it in a way. And I can tell you this: the main thing it isn't is it's not a knock on whatever they're into, because yeah, my opinion on that is anytime you do that, like if I tell you I don't like your shirt, then regardless of what I say immediately after that, you're still going to hear that I don't like your shirt and your hands go up. And now, you're on the defensive
That's right.
side of things. Yeah. So it's really not about that. It's, let me tell you why I believe this is so great and why you should be interested, and why I think you should spend a little time and energy and money looking into it. And the response is, it's been climbing up the rungs. And we have, at this point, I can tell you, and some of us on this call know that we're speaking with people at the highest level in countries around the world with regard to Epic, and getting a very favorable response. Very often it's, they look at it immediately, they look at the market cap and say, well, let me take a shot, and I trust you, Mike, kind of thing. And then they come back and say, wow, this is really exciting. I get it. Tell me more.
Well, and I wanted you to, I had a sneaky suspicion that would be your answer. And I wanted to just use that as another opportunity to show this, because what you said was so important. It's not Epic versus Bitcoin versus Ethereum versus Monero versus Pirate Chain versus all of these. No, what we wanted to accomplish here is thinking in terms of just kind of rewiring our brains. Like, what is the purpose in a perfect world? What is the purpose of, Epic Cash or anything else, gold or Federal Reserve notes? But what is the purpose of money? And when we can agree to those attributes, or in this case, the qualities, which is the whole exercise here, when I can sit around the table with a gold bug or a BTC Maxi, or let's just say someone from the government works for the government and, just is like, is disinterested in anything else and might not understand inflation. And maybe it's somebody who works for the government or gets some government benefits and loves the idea of helicopter money, to where if you just set up a government digital wallet, you may be able to get $1,200 of stimulation or whatever. I don't want to look at you as on the other side of the table. I want us to sit around the same side of the table and then just say, hey, can we agree that superior money in a perfect world would be scarce? Well, that can be a discussion that can literally take a half an hour on a Wednesday morning show. And we can talk about, is gold scarce? Is Bitcoin scarce? What about Federal Reserve notes, et cetera? So the idea here is to go through an exercise that does not put people on the defensive, but just educates us all. And let me tell you, I learned a lot just last Wednesday from Todd. I thought something was fungible and it wasn't. And it's just, we're going to go through the journey together. But this is the more complicated way to get to where Mike, with his skills, can get to in about 2 minutes. I always love overhearing him introduce it to other people, but ultimately that's what it's about, right, Mike? Not creating a karate or a boxing match, but really more of a judo. And that's perfect for you because you're a martial artist.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, great analogy.
All right, Max. This is called Max Energy because you came into it today. Boy, it was fun hearing you, at 11:30. So give us a little more of what's on your mind.
Yeah, so let's see here. the decentralized exchange infrastructure that has been theoretically possible for a long time, and people didn't really understand the need. Oh, why would I care about that hassle with atomic swaps when I could just go to Binance and Coinbase? We were kind of ahead of the market. There wasn't a need, and even people still don't realize the need, but they will. How important it is to take the trust out of the equation, to take the centralized intermediary out of the equation. And so we've been working for years and years on figuring out ways that people can go blockchain to blockchain and not have to let anyone custody their funds, not have to trust anyone, not have to ask anyone's permission, not have to do a retina scan and turn your head and cough to be able to do business. And our insistence on that really hasn't been appreciated. But when you look at situations like Russia, where overnight Russia's money goes poof because money is now political.
Look at that.
Well, what's that?
Look at that. Look at your screen. One step ahead of you. Binance blocks crypto accounts of
relatives.
Government.
Relatives. Yeah. And Coinbase turned off 25,000 accounts of people where they said it's believed to have probable links to Russian activity, believed to have probable links. With such weasel words, that can be anything. Your right to use these forms of money can be taken away at any time, and increasingly it will be, and it is. And so you can wait until it happens to you, as many people will, or you can jump out of the pot before the frog gets boiled to death. We have the solution. And so right now, Epic is its own island. You can just transfer Epic back and forth to people in a very particular way that's important, the original Bitcoin way, without any intermediaries. As we go forward, the ability to link Epic into other blockchains through the other components in the stack, that crypto cloud computer vision roadmap that we put out, the subway map from November 2019, all of that is actively getting built as we speak, and increasingly people will be able to use that stuff. So I'm super excited about eDex in particular. We don't want to have to trust anyone or ask anyone's permission, or importantly, have our ability to use money be denied based on where we live. I mean, those Russian users now have their accounts shut down because what did they do? Well, they didn't do anything. They just have a family member who is a part of the Russian government. I mean, are you kidding me? Like the entire industry of other blockchains and systems in general that are based on this are built on sand. They're hot air. They're houses of cards waiting to collapse, and so they haven't collapsed yet. And hopefully, many will survive in some form.
But Max, yeah. That could have just as easily, they could. Why? How can they tell? I guess that's my, how can Binance tell that they may be linked to the Russian, a relative in the Russian government? How? Through a surveillance coin of some sort?
Well, I mean, you've got the blockchain surveillance, but then you've got, if we zoom out, the bigger meaning, the point is that you have a permissioned concept of interaction. There are people who can decide whether you can use the system or not. It doesn't matter whether they are Russian linked or not. The point is that there's a person with the ability to deny your access to the system. These other systems are not censorship resistant, and that's that being shown.
Yep, and that person is not you. You are not getting a voice in this. You're not getting a choice in this. This is being inflicted on you. And maybe today being a Russian doesn't draw the sympathy and understanding. People say, well, it's just happening to the Russians, okay? And this is all hee ha ha until it knocks on your door.
That's right.
Shanghai. Just a week ago, I had a Kraken transaction that through an error tagged my transaction, and I got this beautiful rainbowy error screen on my computer that said your region is blocked from these services. Just
Wow.
sure you guys know, my region is Florida, USA, red, white, and blue.
Yeah.
Okay, the South,
Yeah.
and my region got blocked, and there were some apologies and some back and forth from the customer service. But the reality is, the tool is there for the boot to come down.
Yeah.
Okay, and Kraken they're one of the better guys, and they have that functionality. MetaMask showed us that, hey, you're in the US. Oh, we had an oopsie. You got cut off from your funds. Now, if you needed those funds for something life-threateningly critical, whatever, it didn't matter. You were cut off. Yeah, there was an oops, and there was an apology later. Right. Okay, but the functionality is there for the boot to come down. Okay, yeah. And you get no say in this, and except with decentralized exchanges and crypto like Epic, where your money, and it doesn't look, your privacy, we say this time and time again, because somehow privacy got equated with like something nefarious. No, I'm sorry, privacy is still so far not illegal, and it doesn't absolve you of legal responsibilities, but it is a human right. It is a basic expectation to have security and privacy.
To me, privacy is the door on my bathroom. And you know what? If I want to go in there, go to the bathroom, it's not that I'm doing something nefarious in there. When I shut that door, I just like my privacy. And so, there is nothing wrong with privacy coins. Ours just happens to be a coin that's private. That's really kind of the only differentiation, is that that's not our use case. It's just by default through Mimblewimble and Dandelion and everything else that we use, that we're learning about with our TED Talk with Todd. But yeah, it's this type of crypto censorship is going to become more and more prevalent. And I think that, we're still an undiscovered coin out there. I mean, let's call a spade a spade. We are an undiscovered coin. But man, you guys know on this call, we've had conversations externally, as Mike said, with people, Max, all over the world, right? I mean, some serious players out there, and we're having big boy and big girl discussions with them. And we're just a $20-30 million market cap. Why are they taking us seriously? Yet they are. Wish we could share everything with you out there, but we can't. My goodness, we spend a lot of time. Spencer, you are a godsend, by the way. Your editing prowess, your deck building prowess. I mean, guys, right? Can't say enough about Spencer and his whole team. So thank you, Spencer. I know you're probably not watching this, but
hey, Uncle, not just the quality and the skill of what he's doing, but the accessibility and speed of implementation. I like immediate when things were needed. He just always there and always at the top of his game. So thank you, Spencer.
And with that positive energy, right? You know how it is. We've always worked with people who are, just get a little butt hurt when you ask them to go the extra mile. Not one time have I ever seen Spencer not just say, okay, cool. His can-do attitude is unmatched. Literally, I think with just about anybody else I've ever met in the world. So thank you, Spencer. This is a big shout out to you. Okay, 1244, gentlemen. I'm out of subject matter, but open to you guys. We can spitball it through for the rest of the 15 minutes or whatever's on your mind, or we could call it a day.
We can keep it short.
I just asked. Oops.
Oops.
Echo off. Give me 1 second.
There's double max happening right there in stereo.
Well, you started it with the Todd squared, so I'll do max.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Took up the challenge.
Yeah, so I asked in the live chat for suggestions if we should cover anything. We could actually do that as well. Maybe just collect topics from the community within the week, and then make sure we address what people want us to talk about. And Norsimo Fausto is mentioning that he's seeing a very heavy interest in mining, even at a buck something. The numbers are really attractive. Epic is by far the most profitable coin to mine, whether you're talking GPU versus, say, Ethereum or Raven or Zero or Firo or anything out there. The polyphasic proof of work, the multi-algorithm, means that we've got simply a better model, and people who know about it are really doing well. And so the strong signals are there. Price is a lagging indicator. In the short term, markets are voting machines. In the long term, they're weighing machines. And we've never had more substance. You mentioned, why are people taking us seriously, and they don't care that it's a 20 million market cap, or that we don't have a fancy VC behind us, or big name so-and-so out there talking about us all the time. I mean, the Dogecoin, Elon Musk, the richest man in the world, is saying, Dogecoin every day, and it's measly 30 million. Edward Snowden has 5.2 million Twitter followers, and he's pumping Zcash and Monero constantly. And you're kidding? Are you kidding me? You're talking about 2 billion and 5 billion market cap. That's all you got, son? Are you? So they're taking us seriously because our value proposition is solid, and what we have is sustainable for the long term. We absolutely have the right model, and so it's tremendously validating that people that have taken kind of a wait and see attitude, because most of these things die after all and flame out. Promising concepts, tech is not enough, business development savvy is not enough, quality people is not enough. You have to have everything. This is the hardest game in town. And so people are increasingly looking past our market cap today to say, well, what is the potential? I had a conversation with a market maker, because it's not just Bitmart, it's anybody can go and add Epic, and there's a lot that goes into supporting these things, whether it's centralized or decentralized. And they said exact words, and I quote, "Tell me why I should bother with your little coin. Show me the 1000x potential." And I did. And they're like, okay, it's on. When do we start? And those are conversations that we couldn't have had a year ago, 2 years ago. When it's a twinkle in the eye, a white paper and a dream, there's 1,000 of those. But what we have really matters. And people that can discern quality are seeing the quality here, and they're bringing their weight, their economic gravity, their participation, their oar in the water. We haven't, it's not apparent to the world yet in terms of number go up, but I got to tell you, I've never been more bullish and optimistic on where we are. I really am.
And that enthusiasm is infectious. And when I speak to Todd Lewis, it's infectious. When I speak to, when we've been on several calls this week, and Mike had a lot of opportunities to speak with you, it's infectious. Gene, I'm sorry, Yoga.
Everybody knows it's okay. Infectious. No,
Yoga, the super spreader.
that's it. Yes. And the thing is, look, it's about awareness. It's not, you're looking right now at like the whole market, okay, and it is a bloodbath, right?
Right.
But tomorrow and the day after tomorrow, and what are the determining factors of somebody's success? Bitcoin, we already heard their pitch. It's a single word, really. We have scarcity. Scarcity is good. I mean, that's a solid start. Scarcity is great. I've never heard scarcity pitched in so many different words and expanded to so many different parabolas.
Digital energy now.
and scarce digital energy. So yeah.
And blockchain.
but right, on a sesame seed bun. And the thing is, like, well, that's a great start. But let's unpack that. Oh, and decentralization. Well, should everybody get decentralization? So what? But we got real decentralization, not the bullshit decentralization. So that's a little different. But then we got privacy. All of a sudden, the whole bunch of people just shut up, because guess what? They don't have it. Now, the funny thing is they also don't want it. and so on and so on. So you start unpacking the narrative and you start looking at things objectively and honestly. And this is where we shine. We don't have a sales pitch. We have education. That's it. It's
I like
education.
that.
People get it. Like as soon as you start explaining it to people, explaining, not pitching, explaining, not shilling. Okay. As soon as you start unpacking what we got, people connect the dots themselves. They're like, oh, well, Bitcoin is great because of this. It's like, okay, yeah, we got this. And check it out. Like we also got this. And people are like, oh, wow. And again, and I don't want to keep sounding like I'm like this, some OG or whatever, but I just remember this whole thing with, over the years, it has become for every shitcoin to introduce itself with our shitcoin is what Bitcoin should have been. But that's not the reality, because we kind of went beyond that and we've proven that we're not a shitcoin. And we've proven, in fact, we stood up to a very serious trial against a guy with a powdered wig, as I recall, that was actually officially determined that we're not a shitcoin. But the thing that I remember back is that we knew that Bitcoin was not fungible in the beginning. We just didn't realize that it was a big deal. We kind of came to that later. We knew that Bitcoin was not really anonymous, but we didn't think about it in 2011, okay? Because we were just happy that we're finding freaking gaming rigs were finding blocks and we're buying stupid alpaca socks. We didn't think about it that it was going to break 10K at some point and keep going, okay? And that we're going to be the stupidest owners of the most expensive socks ever made by mankind. But at the same time, we didn't think about that we're part of this industry that's going to become this creepy, intrusive industry that's going to evolve around decloaking and tracking down users. And that a concept of a dirty Bitcoin is going to be a thing. Yeah. We didn't think about that, okay? And the ironic thing today, Bitcoin is talking about how they need more mass adoption, right? But the thing that's actually the most toxic part, the thing that's slowing down Bitcoin today are the maxis that didn't come around until a couple of years ago, because originally it was self-critical people who honestly admitted their shortcomings. It's just that they realized that they were locked into a mechanism that, unlike Epic Cash, cannot be made more private, because from the get-go, it wasn't designed with that as a priority. And it's Epic Cash was.
For superior money. And I'm giving a little bit of this away, but I just want everybody to know that when you take a look at all of the qualities on the quest for superior money, and we can go down here with anybody who wants to engage, if we missed one or two, or if we overshot one or two, we can have a discussion around it. But I wanted to just give you the end of the story. And this is going to come over a 10-week series, but we check all the boxes except one. So imagine if you could create superior money and check all the boxes. And the only one we haven't checked is what? Widespread acceptance. That's a pretty good horse to bet on.
Drop an asterisk on that one and put next to it yet.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, because we have increasingly, I think, in terms of reasons why don't we have yet widespread adoption and acceptance, and the reasons why not, the barriers and blockers are steadily being removed. The barriers in the overall chain, if one link in the chain is broken, then it doesn't succeed. And so we need end to end to have it all. And we've been steadily working on that. I've been working on that, just the things that I know about for years and years. So people don't remember, but
to be fair. To be fair, the way I'm looking at this, Bitcoin doesn't have widespread adoption right now.
And it can't. And it can't
Gold
because
doesn't.
Right.
Yeah.
Federal Reserve notes, check. CBD.
But wait, no, Federal Reserve notes, you can't pay with cash in many places. You certainly can't pay internationally. I mean, it's widespread within the United States.
That's why you're not on the show with because you'll nitpick all of this shit when in actuality Federal Reserve notes are widely accepted, Max. I'm sorry. But that's why we have the sub show where you can come and you can
and this is why
you're calling me a sub now, huh?
This is why we're such a cool project, is because people can present their opinions. And to me, this is awesome. Okay. And to me also, when people come into the channel who like names that you never recognized before, people that you never seen before and probably will never see again, and they take a slow steaming dump on something that we've been creating. It's always good when somebody who is aware of this, a community member, drops them a link and says, hey, we talked about this. And oh, no, you're not Nostradamus, because this is not something that we don't know about. This is something we're painfully aware of, and it's either being addressed or it's not important because of this or whatever. Yeah. People come with this assumption that, and it's cute. Like sometimes you see that in very young kids, like when they discovered for the first time that something is, for the first time, like it doesn't matter what it is, and they run to you and with this thing like, oh my God, I just discovered this. And that's great. But when but the little kids, the beauty of that is they come to you with this amazing knowledge that they discovered. They don't come to you and say, hey, moron, I bet you didn't know this.
Right.
And this is the thing that we're not being defensive, and we're just frustrated that we need to, with our wealth of information that was created by all these separate community members who, as you just saw, don't always disagree on the nitty-gritty of things, okay, but are open to discussion about this. We've discussed this, we've videotaped this, we produced it in 54 languages. It's like we did the work, okay, for people to consume information any which way and to answer. People talk about, quantum computing is going to kill everybody. It's like, okay, but why? And so on and so on. It's like, well, I bet you didn't think about this. Well, actually, if you roll things back to like December 4th, 2020, you'll see that we talked about this. And anyway,
look at this. Quantum computing. Where is it?
Quantum future proof right there. Well, you actually answered it.
Quantum future proof. Okay. So this is one to where I got that wrong. But I can't change this because I'm not going to ask for the edits to come until the end of the series, but we're going to change that to FF, which is future feature, because today we are not quantum future proof, but we're working on it on the test net. And if you guys watched last Wednesday's show, Todd Lewis will tell you how we have our multi-algo mining. Well, we're working on, if AI becomes advanced to where it can literally crack the code on everything, we are already testing on a test net to be able to flip the switch, or as Todd says, break glass in emergency and protect all of your money, all of your value, all of your precious epic. And so these are the things that I hope you tune in, because we unpack these and I learn a lot. So now I know what FF is.
This is a reason why I'm not on that show, because quantum to a math guy is, I just think it's all BS, but that's
right.
and it's one of those things. It's like in Princess Bride, people say quantum computing a lot, but it doesn't mean what they think it means.
Right.
And so this is cool that you guys unpack this, and it creates this additional discourse, this dialogue about this thing. That's it. That's what it is. And again, nothing is being shilled here. There is an honest and transparent education process, simply explanations. And if people have questions, they can raise their arm, or raise their hand.
Look, every Wednesday, there's also a battle, because Todd, he has his T-shirts, and I told him I'm throwing down with him. Every Wednesday, I'm going to wear my own different T-shirt. And you know what? I'm going to win at the end. I think people are going to think my T-shirts are way more cool than his. Maybe not. I don't know. It's a fair fight, but you got to tune in and watch. So I hope you do. Okay, guys. Well, this is we have hit the hour mark. So everyone in the chat, thank you as always. Mike Momola, thank you. Yoga dude, thank you. If for so long in our private conversations, I just always called you Yoga, and then now that I'm like, I know.
You can keep calling me yoga. It's okay. You can call me Zoom dude. You can, it's all good.
Just don't call you late for dinner. Okay,
it.
Max, thank you. Keep doing you, Max, man. We need more of this Max energy. So, all right, guys, I hope you all have a fantastic weekend.
Much love, folks.
Cheers.